This is a brief video on how to access stamp reading test codes and passwords, as well as how to administer the stamp reading test for this spring's World Language, Dual Language Immersion, and Native Language Literacy 8th through 12th grade reading assessment. First of all, go to the email that should be sent to you 1 week or so prior to your testing dates. In that email from Michael Bacon, stamp test codes and passwords are provided in a yellow square or rectangular box. Make sure you have stretched the window for this email all the way out, otherwise it may not show or reveal the test codes and passwords. In there are two test codes, one and the second one, which has a T at the end. That is for teacher. There are also two passwords, one here and one here. The top test code and top password are for the test takers, in other words, your students. The bottom test code and the bottom password are for you, the teacher, to view what students are doing on their test, as well as to view the results once the students are done. For a more detailed video explanation of how to see the results of your students, please visit this video that will be linked into the email. To begin the test, or to have students take the test, please have them go to the login page. I have linked that for you in the email, but you will need to provide this URL for students once they come into the test room or the classroom the day of the test. You can do so by just having it all the way stamp4s.avantassessment.com/stamp4s. You do not need the /login. Once you are here, students will then click on the student login. In here there are 3 boxes they will need to complete to log in. Have them type in the student test code. I'm going to just cut and paste here, but you will need to post this in, whoops, wrong one. You will need to have this posted in the room on a whiteboard or a large piece of paper. Here is the password. Have them type this in as well. All students will use the same test code and test password. Do not put these test codes and passwords on a slip of paper and hand it to students. They are not allowed to take those out of the testing room. For their login name, make sure they put in both their first name and last name. All lowercase, no spaces. Once they go in here to the student profile page, they will then re-enter their name with the appropriate capitalization. Make sure they put in their student ID number correctly for you to be able to track them and for us to be able to track the data. Their birth date. And then there are a number of questions for the student profile. Please have them complete this. This will be helpful data for you. Submit the profile, and then it will pull in or pull up a page with 2 buttons on it. This year, the stamp testing will only be for reading. So have them click on the left-hand button. Once they go in there, there are some instructions. Please have them read that carefully. Push next, and there will be a sample question for them. Have them make sure they read the question carefully, read the question that they're being asked, and the different options. Then have them actually look at the text that they're supposed to be reading. Once they've answered a question, they need to push next. Then it will pull up the actual testing. From this point on, students will progress at their own rate, and the test is an adaptive test, which means that students will be given questions. When they answer them correctly, it will actually move up in difficulty, and until the student starts making errors or not answering correctly, and then it will lower the level of the questions. And what it is doing is probing for ceiling, checking for floor, to determine the proficiency level or the reading proficiency level of the student. Once they begin the test, students, even though they may be sitting next to each other, will most likely not receive the same questions at the same time. Once a student has finished the test, a screen will come up and indicate that they have completed the test. Have them log out and wait quietly while the others complete the test. For you to be able to monitor how students are doing or progressing in the test, and you're wanting them all to complete in the one period class you have, go back to the login page and click on the teacher login. You go back to the test codes, and there is a teacher test code. Enter that in the test code, and then enter your password. This will take you to a screen that says class results by student. When the test is in progress, you should be able to scroll down and see the names of the students as they've entered them. You should be able to see whether they've started the reading test. If they have completed it, you will see a scaled reading score here, and you will see a start time and a length of test. If the student has not completed, you will not see a scaled reading score, and you will not be able to see a length of minutes, as well as you will not be able to click on a report. Once a student has completed, it should come up immediately here. You will have a score, as well as up in this box, you will see the number of students out of the number of students completed, or completed students out of the number of completed students taking the test, and their scores based on a 1 to 9 scale, which corresponds to the actual proficiency guidelines. Up at the top here is the key, and you see that it goes from 1 or novice low all the way up to a 9 or advanced high. If for some reason you're not seeing your students enter here, make sure that your date range is correct and that it includes the day that you gave the test. You should be able to review a report for each individual student, such as this one. Of course, there won't be a writing, listening, or speaking score, but there will be reading scores, and you can actually print this out for each individual student. Go back to the main page. There are other ways to view your results. There's a line item summary that will pull all this data into an Excel spreadsheet. There is also, I will show you that. It will also have all the student profile information included in that line item sheet. There is a summary for just your class. It will not have the students' names. but it will give you the percentage of students completing at each level. And you will be able to print out what's called a class batch report. Every student in your classroom will have an individualized report, and all you have to do is click print for this entire document and have an individual report for each student. Of course, again, there will only be a reading score and not a writing, listening, speaking score. There will be information here indicating what are the things the students at this level can do. Go back to your reporting screen, and once the test is done, you should be able to access all those results. So if at any point during the test you have a problem with a student being logged out, or you're not unsuccessful in logging into the test, please contact Marisol Kreutzer or Michael Bacon immediately via the cell phone numbers that will be provided in the email. Have those available for you when you're taking the test or giving the test. Also, you will be able to review the user guides that are provided by Avant Assessment. Most of them are not as important. The two that are most critical for you to administer the test is the proctoring guide. Please read through this very carefully before you give the assessment. Have this also available during the assessment. You also want to have a test taker guide, which you can hand to students in advance the day before or many days before, so that they know what to expect. Do remember that they are only taking the reading test. The reading test should only take about 15 to 45 minutes. Remember, it is adaptive, and all students will finish at different times. So if you have any questions or concerns, please contact Michael Bacon or Marisol Kreutzer during the test or prior to the test or after the test if you have any questions. Thank you.